Guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and welcome once again to my weekly roundup, filmed here on a Sunday morning, where I tell you everything that I've been up to in the week before. Well, not everything, key things which have been interesting to me, things that I've learned from, or things that I think you guys can learn from too. This week, we're going to be talking about five-a-side football, the importance of timing, a book that I've read recently. It talks very much about hospitality. Even if you're not in the hospitality industry, maybe you need to think as if you are. A crazy story where I offered to pay someone almost 20 times their rack rate and they still wouldn't even deliver it for me. We're going to talk about saying no, the importance of saying no, recruiting sales staff, and how to try and get that right. And I'll tell you another little story about how I kind of failed to get what I want, failed to gel with somebody, but you know, you can't win them all. And what can we learn from that? So welcome, here we are in my flat in Dubai. This will be one of the last few weeks that we're filming here because it's unbelievable how time flies. I always find myself saying to everybody in Dubai that you know, the days feel like minutes and the weeks feel like hours. I mean, literally, it feels like 10 seconds ago when I was filming this last weekly roundup. But before we know it, it's going to be March. And I'm heading back to England for a couple of weeks where I'll be taking, I'll be doing a week with my daughter, but then I'm going to be taking my investors, clients, friends on my annual ski trip. I say annual, I missed it the other year because of Corona, but other than that, for the last kind of 5 or 6 years, I have been hiring a ski chalet and taking various people out there, and just having a great week of entertainment, of networking, of hanging out, talking a bit of business and planning for the future. So I'm looking forward to going back and doing that this year. But talking sport and talking networking, I probably look and sound very tired to you, which is because I am, but I'm also a broken man from yesterday's five-a-side football. Now, anyone who follows me regularly will probably see quite a few of my five-a-side football posts, football pictures that have been going up since I arrived here in Dubai. And I thought this would be a good one to talk to you guys about, because whenever I normally talk about networking, I'm always talking about the importance of identifying your targets before you go out there networking. Not doing it blindly, of investing almost whatever it takes to get to where you need to be with your networking. The fact that you'll probably be stretching yourself outside of your comfort zone to be able to create atmospheres and experiences to get these people networking. To get these people with you and start doing some networking. But I found that, for me, the five-a-side football is something that is very much within everybody's financial reach, and it's been a fun little thing for me, and it's probably got some analogies that you guys can implement. I mean, I never ever played football at school. I mean, literally until I was here in Dubai. We started doing this back in October, November last year, so we've been doing it for about 3 months now. I never played football, I think, literally, I was at an event back in November of last year, and the gym I'm in has a pretty cool five-a-side football pitch. So I was always seeing people playing. And at the event I was in, I ended up meeting up with a couple of ex-professional football players. Guys who had played for kind of Man United, Man City historically. And we just got talking, almost like as a bit of fun. Oh, we should put a five-a-side football team together and have a bit of playing. Now, as much as I don't play football, I'm always up for a bit of exercise and always up for something fun and a good experience and a good opportunity to hang out with new people. So when these guys said they were up for playing, what I decided to do was to effectively put two five-a-side teams together. So we've got 10 people there ready to play. I think the first game that we did was a bit of a mix of some ex-football players, some MMA players who like to play football, a couple of business people, a couple of friends, and we all had a very good laugh. And that kind of, I guess went on to the next week and went on to the next week, and it's kind of snowballed a bit. And we play pretty much every week now. But what I find is it's just a great opportunity to get everybody together. It's it's always a good leveler when you're on the sports pitch of any degree, whether that's football, whether that's boxing, whether that's climbing a mountain or going for a run. It puts everybody very much on an equal footing of ability and the way they interact together. But for me, this football's ticked a lot of boxes of getting people together in a fun environment, of mixing all kinds of different people, of the chance to network with high caliber people, with people that I don't know already, with people that I want to know. And it's just been great to get everyone together. It gets you bonding very, very quickly. But key, in terms of talking to you guys, is this is something that costs me £100 a week to put together, as opposed to some of the things I do, which, as can cost thousands, if not tens and tens of thousands. So I think this is very much something that is within everybody's reach. But I think the way I approach it, and the lessons that you guys can take from it, is that I always take control of putting it together. Yes, we have a WhatsApp group where various different players are in there, and I can message out to keep everybody in the loop, but I never leave it to anyone else to do. Because I know that ultimately, as much as everybody else has fun there, I see the bigger picture benefits of me playing in this. Therefore, I want to take the responsibility for making sure it actually happens. So don't rely on other people to get it done. On times that I've been out of town or out of the country, the guys have wanted to get a fun game together themselves. Somebody else has kind of managed in the group, and they take it upon each other to pull a couple of players together here and pull a couple of players together there, and invariably it's never worked. They've never actually managed to put a game together when I haven't arranged it, and I'm not telling you that to say that I'm so amazing. I can always make it happen. It just comes down to effort again. Comes down to pipeline. Something we talk about in a lot of these weekly roundups and a lot of my other videos. You've got to put your effort in at the front end to make sure you get the results you want at the back end. But I take charge. I do the arranging. I do the paying. I make sure that as much as everybody who wants to play gets to play, I will tailor it from week to week of who I want to get involved. Whether that's somebody I'm looking to do business with, or somebody I've done business with and wanting to kind of hang out with a bit and entertain. And again, depending on the makeup of the teams, like I say, we've had ex-professional football players play. We've had a couple of current professional footballers play when they're in town. We've had various celebrities, etc., play in the team as well, and it's always just very fun to get to get everybody involved in. So whilst it's whilst it's very cheap, it still has some great benefits in terms of being able to pull people in, because again, what I normally talk about networking is how very difficult it is to get high net worth people, busy business people, etc., to come and meet you for a lunch or meet you for a coffee or whatever, because they just don't want to do it, because they've got enough opportunities to fill their own breakfast, lunches, and dinners anyway. So why would they come and do it with you when they don't even know who you are or what you can offer? But in terms of those money can't buy experiences, I've been able to drag down some pretty high caliber, high net worth, some pretty high caliber business people who, would like, even if they're not, great football players, would like the chance to be able to come and play with some of the people that play in my team. So yeah, that is why I sound so broken and knackered, because we're only 24 hours on, and I'm completely not built for football shape. By the way, I'm not drinking a wee. Top tip, this is Barocca. I don't know if it has any benefits whatsoever. Obviously it's supposed to be electrolytes and vitamins and all this, that and the other. I can't tell you whether or not it does have all that stuff in, or whether they do anything for you. But it makes the water taste better. So I drink a lot more water every day, and I can hit my 3 litres a day or whatever it is you're supposed to drink nowadays. So what else can I tell you? Timing, the importance of timing being everything. I've got a friend of mine, a guy I do a bit of business with, who has been asking me to make him some introductions lately. Some of these introductions I get paid for, some I just do as part of the bigger picture. But there's some specific people that he knows, I know, that he's asked me to target for him. But ultimately, anytime I make an introduction, I'm effectively using up one of my lives, because I guess I only get so many opportunities to pitch these people, whatever it is I may be pitching them, before I kind of start to cross the line from being a genuine friendship to more like a business relationship, and then ultimately to just being an annoyance. And some of the people he's been asking me to introduce him to, and say, look, these are very good. These people will definitely like my service, and it'll be a good earner for me, and it'll be a good earner for you. I know when the vibe's right with certain people, and for me, it has just not been the right time to make these introductions. I think ultimately, if I did them now, 2 things would happen. One is 100%, it wouldn't land right. We wouldn't be able to move this forward into any kind of deal. And secondly, I'm very much jeopardising my ongoing relationship with those people anyway. I think whenever you're going to try and pitch something to somebody, even if you've identified that they are the right person, timing is everything. And it's obviously it's an old adage, an old cliche, but it's just very, very true. And there's always so many different reasons why the timing might not be right. It could be something as simple as it's I don't know, that person's having a bad day, and you can tell that they're having a bad day, or their kid's ill, they've had a death in the family, something's going bad at business, they're struggling to get on with the wife or the husband or whatever it may be. But a lot of the time, the relationships just aren't matured enough. And I think that's very, very key as well. That you've really got to be in the right place with the right person to be able to offer them the right opportunity. And again, without doing that pipeline analogy to death. That's why it's always so important to be growing your network, to be building your pipeline at the beginning. Because then you're not going to feel so much pressure to have to push people who probably aren't in the right state or right stage to be pushed. If you've only got, I don't know, if take this guy for example, if I've only got 1 or 2 people that I can introduce him to, then I'm going to be under a lot more pressure to introduce him to those 1 or 2 people at the wrong time and make potentially bad decisions. But my network's got hundreds and thousands of people in there who are anywhere from acquaintances to super close friends. Therefore, I can widen my scope of who I can introduce him to, and not need to worry about pushing the people who are wrong at the time. So, if he's pushing me, saying, look, come on, you've got to introduce me to this guy, I can stand up and go, look, now is just not the right time for that guy. It's going to be right at some point, but now it's not. But don't worry about that, because I've got these 10 other people we can talk to, or 50 other people we can talk to, or whatever the number is. So timing and, size of pipeline, size of network, very, very key. I've been picking up on my reading again over the last couple of months. Again, I've had quite a lot on, and a lot of time just disappearing. But I've been to the bookshop a few times here in Dubai, made myself a nice little library. But also been working on the audio books again, because I like to do a good 45 minutes down in the sauna each day, and it's always a good chance for me to read books in there. But a good one I can't show you when I read a book, and I would like to show it to you. But this was an audio book, so I can't. I read a good book recently, or listened to a good book called "Shut Up and Listen" by a guy called Tillman Fertitta. Pretty sure he's called Tillman Fertitta. And Tillman is what is he? He is the founder and chief exec of Station Casinos in the US. He owns many restaurant brands over there. I think things like Morton's and Sizzler Steak, all kinds of different hospitality businesses in the US. In the US. The guy's a billionaire. He owns the Texas, the Houston Rockets as well, which is the NBA team, I believe. But really good book. He read it himself as well, and he's one of those Southern American guys, or I was going to say South America, but I don't mean South America, but the southern part of North America. I think they've always got a very soothing voice to listen to. So it was a good one to hear. But one of the big things that Tillman talked about was the fact that we should all look at our businesses as being in hospitality, even if we're not in what would be considered a traditional hospitality industry. So obviously, Tillman's in bars and hotels and restaurants and casinos. But ultimately, whatever line of business we're in, we are needing, or should be needing, and wanting to be hospitable to our end customer. Making their life better, making their life smoother. And I think, again, simple thoughts, but I think very, very important. And it made me think that how often, and this is very much in food situations, but also how often in business in general do people say no to a request when it would almost be just as easy to say yes. And I think you probably can think of so many situations where people have said no even before the question has been finished. One of the things Tillman talks about on this is his pet hate of restaurants which are unwilling to serve scrambled eggs to their customer. He talks about it in the context of, you're a tired businessman, you've just landed in a new town, you've arrived at whatever that may be, 12:01 at lunchtime, or 10:30 p.m. at night, and either way, you sit down, you ask for some scrambled eggs, and you get told by the server or the restaurant manager, I'm sorry, that's not possible. It's breakfast closed, or it's not on the menu, or whatever it may be. And obviously he then goes on to talk about how easy is it for someone to actually walk into the kitchen, crack out 2 or 3 eggs in a skillet and rustle together some scrambled eggs for somebody. It's super easy. We're not even talking about the fact that person has to be charged a small price. If this person's asking for something that is outside the norm of what the restaurant would normally provide at that point, I don't think anyone would find it unreasonable to be charged accordingly. So it's even an opportunity for you to make a bit of extra margin. But what you've really got the opportunity to do is to show that you are adaptable and flexible. When I say adaptable and flexible, it's hardly a big ask to go and rustle up some scrambled eggs for somebody. But it's all these easy things that business owners and businesses just naturally say no to, because it's that almost like computer says no mentality of this is what we do at this time, this is what we do at that time, this is what's on the menu, this isn't. I have my own little food pet hates, when I go somewhere and I ask for something to be made and it can't be. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're being difficult, just order something from what's on the menu. And okay, that's maybe another attitude you can have as far as being flexible as a customer, as an individual in life is. But you're just looking at the other way around from the restaurant. If somebody is saying, can I have prawns added to that, or can I have chicken added to that, or please can you substitute this for this, or please can you make that for the other? Okay, there may be times when the restaurant is completely overrun, and it's, I don't know, on New Year's Eve you probably haven't got time to be deviating from your standard processes. But 9 times out of 10, I fail to believe that it is impossible to accommodate customers' reasonable requests of making a few changes and substitutions here and there, and keeping a customer happy, maybe making them extra happy, and giving them something to talk about how good you are. And that theory, just applies across the board, to pretty much every area of business that you're in. We all have customers in business, even if you work internally within a business unit. You may not be traditional customer facing, i.e. you may not be dealing with the end user, but if you're an accountant, if you are a warehouse manager, if you're a warehouse operative, whoever you are in business, you have customers, whether that's your boss, whether that's your colleagues, whoever you are serving with, whatever your offering in business is. And, what can you do to be, to look at your little business unit as a hospitality industry, and be, hospitable to the people you deal with. A similar story about, saying no. And for me, this was just completely nuts. Just before Christmas, we had an issue in one of our businesses where there was an electricity problem, and we were at risk of losing the electricity supply. And this was just prime time of Christmas. We obviously couldn't afford to lose the electricity, and we wanted to get a generator in. Now, I've never had any experience before of hiring generators. Didn't particularly know where to go to, so we spent a good few days on Google and calling contacts and calling pretty much every generator supplier around the country. And initially, pretty much everyone we spoke to didn't have any available generators because it was peak time and they're all out on work, etc. Got to the end of the list of the people we were trying to call, came across a guy from a business who did have a generator. I asked this guy if he could supply a generator. He said, yeah, he's got one in stock. And when he asked me where I wanted it delivering to, he was telling me, that's probably 50, 60 miles further than he really wanted to take it to. I was like, come on, mate, please, I'm absolutely desperate for this generator. I'm sure you can go a bit further. Anyway, the guy was really not interested, and I was saying, come on, how much does this generator cost? Don't hold me to the exact amounts here, because I can't remember to the penny. But this generator was going to be about £600 a week. Now, I thought we would probably need it for 2 weeks maximum, but the implications of not having power would have been catastrophically expensive to us. So this guy who wanted 600 quid a week for his generator, I offered him £5,000 a week for. And he starts laughing, going, oh, no, I'm just, it's too busy, I can't be bothered. I was like, well, you weren't too busy 5 minutes ago when I asked you if you could supply it. But, yes, it's 50 or 60 miles outside of where you could normally want to take it to, but I'm sure you can make a special allowance for the fact that I'm offering you almost 10 times the going rate. He still wasn't interested, and he told me that if it broke on a Saturday night, he'd have to send his maintenance guys out, and 50 or 60 miles was too far for him. And we got to the stage, I think, where I went from £5,000 a week to offering him 10 grand as a payment just for delivering it, then 5 grand a week, and offering to sign a waiver to say that if it broke on a Saturday night, we would not hold him liable and he would have until Monday morning to come out and fix it. Honestly, I offered everything imaginable, and the guy still said no. And I guess, I know it's a slightly different story to what we were just talking about with hospitality, but it was just one that I just found staggering, really, because this is a guy who's I'm not asking him to go outside the realms of what he'd normally do. He supplies generators, he's got a generator in stock. Okay, it's Christmas week and he's a bit busy, but it might take him 3, 4, 5 hours outside of his normal working day to actually deliver this generator. Or I'm sure some of his staff would love the chance to be paid double time, triple time, quadruple time, and get a little bit of Christmas money in to make this happen. But not only did he turn down a staggering amount of money, he's also missed out on a chance to keep a customer happy. It's always hard to say what you would do in each exact situation, but I am someone who tries to accommodate in all situations that we can, really, because I would normally rather say yes than say no. Because I know, what value it's going to build down the line, and I certainly don't like to say no to business. And I think I'm pretty confident that I would have said yes to doing that long before needing to be offered 10 times the going rate. But it was a story I was going to tell you guys around Christmas time, and we never got around to filming, so I never did. But I thought when I was preparing for today and talking about that hospitality book, it was a nice little lead-in. Talking about saying yes as much as possible, just going on the opposite from that, one of the other things that, I've been doing a lot lately, or trying to do more, is saying no where I can, saying no to the wrong opportunities, or saying no when I really haven't got time to do something. I think a lot of the stresses I cause myself, whether that's for me or for my staff, is because I'll probably say yes to more things than I should. I say that because I'm trying to accommodate people. I say that because I don't want to miss out on opportunities to make money, or miss out on opportunities to meet people, or to grow, or whatever that may be. And I know this kind of flies in the face of what we were just talking about a moment ago in terms of accommodating customers, but this is just purely from a personal perspective. Particularly, for example, being here in Dubai, I get asked to do something 10 times a day. And it's very easy to say yes, because it's either things that I want to do, or it's people that I want to see, or people that I feel I don't want to let down. But I end up getting myself in ultimately in a bit of a stress and a bit of a tiz when I can't get everything done that I want to do. And I always get requests through to read people's business plans, or deals that people want me to fund, or advice that people want me to give. And I've always said yes to like 99% of these things. Just because I always go back to the default of that. I don't like letting people down, but ultimately something has to give somewhere, and then these people either get disappointed with me anyway, because I kind of say I'll do something and then can never quite do it because I'm too busy, or they get what they want and I don't get what I want because I've had my time taken up, I've had my headspace battered, and I think it's. Makes me think of the social media quotes that are always flying around now about like the importance of self-care, and making yourself happy is more important than making others, and this, that, and the other. I'm not talking about it in a kind of a social media quote emotional type of way, but I just think for me it's been better for the greater good of me and all my businesses, to be able to try and find the time to concentrate on the things that really matter to me, and to be able to move the dial in business, and to be able to have the time to do what I want to do personally. Whether that is just that I want to go to bed early, or watch a movie, or hang out with Harley, or whatever it may be. I've been saying no to a lot more things lately, and I guess my barometer for myself of whether or not I should be saying yes to something is I've kind of been saying, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And by that, what I mean is there's so many, I'm sure when you get asked to do something, or when you look at something you may want to do, whether that's personally, socially, in business, something to invest in, a new customer to take on, or a new product to buy for your business. You can look at most things and go, oh, that's all right, yeah, I'd like to do that. But how many things do we look at and go, fuck yeah, I really want to do that, and I've been trying to confine my yeses just to the things that are, very much a hell yes, and anything that's a marginal, I either give it to somebody else to do, or say no to it altogether. I've been recruiting as always, anyone who becomes a regular of these weekly roundups knows that recruiting and networking tend to feature on pretty much all of them. But this week, I've been very specifically recruiting some sales staff, or trying to recruit some sales staff. I mean, sales staff are the bane of my life. I mean, in the last 20 years in business, I've hired, literally I must have hired over 100 sales staff that I've had working for me in some way, shape or form. You know, guys who have been commission only orientated, guys who've been, you know, on lower basics, you know, 20, 25, 30 grand, guys who've been on very high basics, or, you know, much higher basics, you know, 65, 70, 80 grand basics, always with very aggressive commission structures. But never ever have I had anyone within the business selling who has ever achieved anything like what I would have wanted or expected for them. And never have I had any of them leave who I wish they had stayed. And it's been a real, I feel it as a personal disappointment, because it's a failing to me that I've not been able to recruit these people, that I've not been able to retain these people, because ultimately what that does is it stops me being able to scale the business in the ways that I want to scale the business. Now, I can always justify it or brush it off to the side that, oh well, it doesn't matter that I haven't got these people selling at the moment, because, you know, I'm always selling, which I am. You know, obviously the businesses, you know, get good levels of success from what I generate, and, you know, I always moan about the fact that, you know, I've probably passively generated more sales than my entire sales team has actively generated. And when I actually go out there trying to be active and trying to put some effort in, you know, I can do 10, 20, 30 times, you know, what any of these guys would have done. But as much as I might want to pat myself on the back for it, that doesn't help me build a business, because, you know, ultimately, you know, the businesses are only as good as my last deal. They're completely reliant on me. You know, when I'm not delivering, they aren't earning. So, you know, whilst I go through phases of saying, you know what, I'm going to not have any sales guys now, I'm just going to do it all myself. I'm going to build an operations team around me to kind of, I guess, wipe my arse and pick up the pieces, so I'll generate the sales and give it to them to deal with. Yes, that works to a degree, but ultimately I need guys selling while I'm sleeping. So, you know, when I every few months, when I've I guess changed my thinking and changed my mood again, I always start trying to re-recruit. And you know, I wasn't particularly in the space of wanting to recruit at the moment, but about 3 weeks ago, I was playing some tennis over here with a guy I know, and he runs you know, a very successful finance brokerage. He's got some great staff in there, and he was telling me that he'd just been recruiting some new ones, and a particular recruiter he was using. So I thought, you know what, if it works for him, it might work for me. He made me an introduction, so we've started to try and recruit some new financial sales staff, particularly from this one recruitment agency. It obviously, you know, in having to get the job description together and the package together, it made me think very hard about, you know, what kind of commissions, what kind of bonuses, what kind of structure, what kind of you know, growth opportunities there were for these staff, which is obviously, you know, very important in being able to retain and motivate these people. But also, you know, good timing this week. A friend of mine based here in Dubai, a girl called Lauren Tickner, who is she's an online coach, and she has been very successful in building her own sales teams and in teaching other people how to build their sales teams. She jumped on my podcast for an hour. So just as an aside, if you guys haven't seen that podcast and you want to learn from a master how to build $1 million or £1 million sales team, then please check it out. That's Lauren Tickner. We'll probably put the link in here somehow so you can click on it. But I had a good chat with Lauren, and we were talking. I mean, all of her sales team, or pretty much all of her sales team, are commission only, no basic wages, which is, I mean, look, it's a concept I've always very much believed in, because I know that I'm happy to work for no basic wage and work purely on a commission orientated basis, because I know I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is, and I know I can perform. I know so many other people who've got some great sales people, maybe not whole teams, but great sales people who are only paid on commission, only paid on success, and it seems to work for them. But I've always struggled to even find people who are prepared to work on that basis in the first place, because I think it might be quite an English thing as well. But we have a real attachment to basic salaries, but then the problem with the basic salaries is that unless you are the right motivated, hungry person, then that level of comfort from the basic salary makes you lazy. So the first thing that Lauren was talking about when she's looking for sales staff is it has to be someone who has put their hand up and said, yes, I'm hungry. I want the chance to earn 10 grand a month. I will work for no salary with an aggressive commission structure, and that they are super hungry to do that. But I'll keep you posted over the coming weeks of how we get on, if we find some of the right candidates. Actually, the recruiter messaged me yesterday to say that they've started to get some reasonable CVs coming in. But what was my attitude to people who were kind of flaky on historical jobs, and they'd only lasted 18 months in previous roles, and again, probably a generalization with some people. I know a lot of employers don't want to recruit people who have been flitting between historical jobs and flaky with historical jobs. Listen, I'm prepared to take a view on one role that may have not worked out and they've left after a year, left after 18 months, as long as they've got some kind of longevity in the other roles. But I also do think that if you have the right person with the right product to sell and the right commission structure and the right chance for them to really hit high earning potential, then it's the company's responsibility to make that person want to stay. It's my responsibility to provide them the vehicle to get to where they want to get to. So I'm not going to be completely put off by the fact that they haven't stayed in some of the historical roles long enough. But that is, if you're new to recruiting, I think that is something quite important to look at. Are people serial job hunters? And this is not just in sales, this is in any role, probably even more so important in any role. Recruiting someone is expensive. Integrating them into your business is expensive and time consuming. And if you're going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get someone settled in, and they're going to be starting to look for another job another 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, then that is ultimately, it's going to cause you problems within your operation, and it's going to be very costly for you as a business and as a recruiter. And that's it really for me. That is our weekly roundup on, what was the date? Sunday the 27th of March. So I hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoyed watching. As I said last week, I missed a couple of months of these roundups now, but I'm going to try and start making sure we do them every week again without fail. So this has been the second one on the bounce. As always, if you've got any specific things you want to talk about, if you've got any comments, any criticisms, anything you want me to dig deeper on, then drop me an email or comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube and you like it, make sure you press like. If you don't subscribe to the channel already, make sure you press subscribe as well. If you are watching it on the video, you can also listen to it on the audio. We do iTunes, we do Spotify, any of the places that you can normally listen to your podcasts. You'll find me on there. And on social, as always, I am the Matt Haycox. That's TheMattHaycox. So, like I say, drop me a comment, drop me an email, get in touch with me, however you want to get in touch, and tell me what you like and what you don't like about these things, and what I can talk about to help you guys with your businesses. But until next week, which will be March, I'll see you again.